Welcome to TiEcon Live. I'm Kamal Aluwalia, and it's a pleasure to have with us President, Founder, and CEO of Salesforce.com, Marc Benioff. Welcome.
Nice to be with you.
Thank you. So, Marc, you started in '99. At what point did you realize that the horizons and the opportunity in front of you were much broader than CRM?
Well, as you know, when we started the company, our vision was very simple, the end of software, the idea that you could create and use a website to manage your business instead of buying traditional software from companies like Microsoft, Oracle, or SAP. You know, what we really found is that companies could really automate every aspect of their operation, sales, service, marketing, front office, back office, manage all their information, and not install one piece of software to do it. That guiding vision has really carried us to where we are today.
Excellent. So you and your team, especially you, have done a fantastic job of marketing end of software, software as a service, etc. Do you think where you are as a company and where your vision is taking you, you've outgrown the word Salesforce.com?
Yes.
So what should we expect on that front?
Well, what I think about the word Salesforce is that it's really become a new meaning. You know, when people talk about Salesforce, you hear them say, oh, the Salesforce model, or I'm going to build a company like Salesforce, so I'm going to be the Salesforce of this industry, the Salesforce of that industry. And I'm sure you've probably heard that yourself. And the reality is that the word Salesforce has begun to mean software as service, it means on demand, it means a lot of new things that it didn't mean before. And so we're extending it. You know, we call it Salesforce CRM or Salesforce PRM or Salesforce Content Management or Salesforce Platform or, you know, even our Salesforce language and Salesforce community. We've really tried to expand what the word Salesforce means. I'd rather try to do that than, you know, change the company's name.
Excellent. So what is your advice for entrepreneurs who are starting out? How far out should they be thinking when they're thinking about positioning their company?
In our industry, people always overestimate what you can do in 1 year and underestimate what you can do in 1 decade. So as an entrepreneur, you have to take the long vision or the long term. You need to begin with the end in mind. You have to kind of get clear about your intention, your focus. What are you trying to create? What is it that you really want that you're going to meditate on every day, because ultimately that's what you're going to create. But you have to think about that in this kind of way that we think about time in much longer segments. People forget Oracle's 30 years old, Microsoft's 30 years old, SAP is 35 years old. They don't remember that SAP was started in the 70s.
That's right.
You know, it's not a startup that's done well. You know, this is a long-term proposition for these founders. And that's the way entrepreneurs have to think about their business. They have to have an Asian mind and think about the long term and what they're going to do in the industry and then create that.
So congratulations on getting large customers like Cisco, Dell, Japan Post, Merrill Lynch live and thriving on Salesforce.
Thank you.
And I'm assuming that those things didn't close via your inside sales team. So could you comment on how long was the sales cycle and how long was the deployment cycle to get these sort of industry icons on Salesforce?
Well, in our industry, software is sold. It's not purchased. And you have to be ready as a software entrepreneur to get out there and to be able to communicate and explain your value proposition to companies of all sizes, small, medium, large, whatever it is. And to do that, you need a multidisciplinary sales organization that's able to operate not just by segment, but by industry, by geography. And running and building that type of sales organization is very important. But that's also why people need to buy Salesforce. It helped us do it. The reason that we're successful is we use Salesforce to run our own business.
So you talked about App Exchange, and I know that it's easy enough to develop because I've had a couple of applications develop already.
Fantastic.
So the question is...
Why only 2?
We'll discuss that offline. So more guidance for the entrepreneurs. Once they have built an application, what should they expect in terms of sales and marketing effort, and what is involved in actually going after probably the mid to large enterprises?
Well, at Salesforce, we're trying to offer a full package to the entrepreneur. That means we want to give them the on-demand platform. We want to give them the sales experience, but also we also want to make sure they have the marketing experience. But to do that, kind of what I would call the hand-holding for the new model, it was difficult to have that day-to-day experience, which is why we've opened our first incubator in San Mateo, California, where we will basically offer you for $20,000 a year the opportunity to sit with us in a cube in our building, and then we'll work with you day to day to help you get your product out there and get the buzz and get things going. Things just don't happen to entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs make things happen. And as an entrepreneur, you have to be aggressive. But the reality is you also need to know what to do. We're going to try to help those entrepreneurs understand that more than ever before.
So how much do they end up paying for that privilege and opportunity to be right next, sitting next to your development team?
Our cubes in the incubator are $20,000 per year per cube.
That's worth an investment.
I have a form when we're done outside.
Excellent. So in your view, now that it's becoming essentially a platform war of NetWeaver, Oracle Fusion, whenever that materializes, App Exchange, where do you see are the primary challenges for Salesforce.com?
Well, I think when you look at these big platforms, .NET, Fusion, NetWeaver, and of course the Salesforce platform, all of these things are trying to offer developers the ability to build an application. But only our platform lets you build an on-demand application that has the scalability and reliability and availability of Salesforce, that operates all over the world, that has all the languages and currency support and so forth. That's what we want to offer, and that's how we want to differentiate ourselves than those other old software companies.
Great. On that note, thanks a lot for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay.